What's up, guys? Welcome to Journey of a Hero, where we cover Star Trek, Star Wars, A Song of Ice and Fire, and the works of J.R.R. Tolkien. My name is Aaron. Today we're covering Star Wars, The Mandalorian, Season 2, the finale, Chapter 16, The Rescue. Let's get into it. Oh boy, was this an exciting episode. Oh, this episode just got me going. And I'm going to just drop a little hint. I'm assuming you've already seen this. Spoilers, but I picked the right color shirt today. The right color shirt, the right color jewelry to wear here. And that was all before watching the episode or knowing what was in it. But what did we get? So we start out the episode, the Slave One, the Mando, Boba Fett, and the crew. They're chasing down this Imperial ship, this cruiser that has Dr. Kirsching on it. He's the cloner scientist who's been doing experiments on Grogu for Moff Gideon. They disable the ship, and there's an interaction between Cara Dune and some of the Imperials about the old battle wounds and things that happened in the war. And he talks about how he enjoyed the destruction of Alderaan and killing those terrorists. They look at the rebellion and the freedom fighters as terrorists from the Imperial point of view. And he says that, there was millions of people that died when the Death Star went down, and he tries to kind of shame her on that. And it just shows the varying shades of gray of war. You know, there's casualties and evil things done pretty much on all sides during war. It's not a clean endeavor. But she makes short work of these Imperial guards, and they get Dr. Kirsching and basically find out the information as to where Moff Gideon is and where Grogu is. So after they find out the information, the Mando is like, we're going to need some help on this. They go to recruit bo-katan and Kosher Reeves to help them in this mission to get Grogu back. Can I say Kosher Reeves? Man, this is my chick. I need me a Kosher Reeves. Maybe we can set something up, arrange something, see what we can do about that. I need me some Kosher Reeves in my life. That's all I'm saying. So when they go to recruit bo-katan, they see Boba Fett walk in. And as we know, Boba Fett is the first clone, so to speak, and they have a little back and forth. And she talks about how, I've heard your voice 1,000 times. He says, maybe this is the last time you'll hear my voice. Him and Kosha get into it, have a little fight scene. Interesting seeing all these different Mandalorians. And Boba Fett's like, hey, I never said I was a Mandalorian. But he has every right to wear that armor, as we've already seen earlier in the season. So Bo-Katan basically says to Din Djarin, Mando, she's like, look, I'll help you do this, but I'm going to need some help in return, and you're going to have to help me get this, the darksaber. She's like, Moff Gideon's mine, Grogu's yours, and we're going to work together. That's how it's going to roll. So they roll up on Moff Gideon's ship, and they stage it so that Boba Fett's in the Slave One, and everybody else is in the Imperial ship, and they make it look like they're getting attacked by Boba Fett, so they can get clearance to get into Gideon's ship as like they're fleeing attack. One thing that struck me as a little bit strange is that Gideon's Imperial ship, we know that it's a smaller type destroyer or whatever class of ship it is, and they can only release one TIE fighter at a time through one terminal. I thought that was very strange. I guess it helped build the tension of the scene, but I just thought that was interesting. So now they bust into the ship, and they know all the obstacles that they have to face in order to get to the holding cell where Grogu is, and also the bridge where they expect to find Moff Gideon. And they know that the Dark Troopers are there. The scientist has told them about the Dark Troopers and that they're just jacked up droids. The plan is for the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, to be able to get past where the Dark Troopers are and to Grogu before the Dark Troopers are released. So as they start fighting their way through the ship, and I just gotta say, Stormtroopers are completely useless. The basic stormtroopers, like I feel like they should show them hitting something at least every once in a while. They're just cannon fodder. They get shot. They never land a shot. It's ridiculous. But I guess that's the running joke in Star Wars. So they're completely carving through these stormtroopers, the crew. Not Boba Fett. He took off in the Slave One, but Din Djarin and Cara Dune and bo-katan and everybody, they're just cutting through. So Moff Gideon deploys the dark troopers. Yo, I thought it was hilarious. They started playing dubstep when those dark troopers started loading up. Yeah, just like that. So just as Mando is crossing the hall where he has to get past the dark troopers, that's when they start getting unleashed. And oh snap, he tries to close that airlock, but the dark trooper gets their hands in there and starts pulling that apart. And you just knew Mando was in for it. So he goes into fighting this dark trooper, and he's getting his ass kicked. This thing is like superhuman strength. There's virtually nothing Mando can do for against it. He's getting his helmet bashed in, and I know he's got on his Beskar helmet, but you gotta have a concussion getting punched in the face by that thing that many times. Like, that is not healthy by any standard. But just when we think Mando is down and out, he's got one more trick up his sleeve, and I guess his spear is retractable because I don't see it anywhere on him, but he rolls over and just pops this thing out and spears up this dark trooper here. He puts him on the spit, and it was definitely dope seeing Din Djarin wield this spear. It was cool to see him use some melee weapons like that. And after he takes out this dark trooper, he sends the rest on out the airlock, and we think that's the last we're going to see of him, but is it? So we see bo-katan and the rest of the crew get to the bridge, and of course Moff Gideon is not there, and that puts them into some confusion. Din Djarin gets to the holding cell where Grogu is, and who else is there but Moff Gideon, and he's got the darksaber out, holding it tauntingly above Grogu. So Moff Gideon is very smug. He tells Mandalorian, assume I already know everything. Mando's like, all right, whatever, dude. You're smart. You're witty. You got the upper hand. I just want the kid. And Moff Gideon starts doing this fake, I understand you. You understand me. You can take the kid. I already got everything that I need from him, but you're going to leave my ship. And, of course, as Din bends over to pick up the kid with his back turned to Moff Gideon, Gideon whips out the darksaber and goes to attacking Mando. Now, it doesn't look like Moff Gideon has any precise lightsaber training or sword training. It looks like he's more of a hack and slash type dude. Like, he's just taking these wild hacks at the Mandalorian. And Mandalorian whips out that spear again, and it's on like Donkey Kong. This was an exciting duel to see. Mando with the spear versus Moff Gideon with the darksaber, mirroring Ahsoka with her lightsabers versus the Night Sister with the spear in previous episode. And of course, Din Djarin, being the badass that he is, comes out on top, disarms Moff Gideon, and that's a wrap. So I found it hilarious as we see Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, bringing Moff Gideon in with his handcuffs on, and Mando's got the darksaber, and they were even playing a little bit of like goofy music in the background, how Moff Gideon just looks utterly defeated. And Mandalorian, he's like, I saved Grogu, I got the darksaber, and I arrested Moff Gideon all by myself. And Bo-Katan's looking at him like, what? And the first thing I thought was, he's Mandalore now. He is Mandalore. He's got the darksaber, and he doesn't even know it. It's funny because Moff Gideon explained to him some of the history of the darksaber, and this person is the ruler of Mandalore, whoever has this. So Din doesn't even understand all these things, this part of Mandalorian culture. So now Moff Gideon has himself a chuckle because he knows how much Bo-Katan wants the darksaber, but now Din Djarin has it. And he's saying, oh, well, now the only way she can take it is if she defeats you in battle. You can't just give it to her. And Din's like, no, but whatever. This is yours. Take it. And she's like, no, he's right. We have to do battle. And Din's like, whatever, I yield, take it, I don't care. It's just funny how certain things in life, this is a good example of real life, sometimes we hold too much value in a symbol, in an idol or whatever it is, and it's not the true meaning. Like, if the Mandalorian people, look to Bo-Katan and see that she is a true fighter for the Mandalorians, a true leader, Din Djarin doesn't want anything to do with leadership. Now, sometimes that is a good quality of a leader, to not really want the power, but perhaps Bo-Katan is holding too much value in this symbol. Maybe it's not really that important. That doesn't really make you the leader. It's the character and the will of the people that make you the leader. So as all this is going on, we see the Dark Troopers with their Iron Man jetpacks come back from space into the ship, and they're about to start the attack again. I was like, oh, damn, I thought we saw the last of them, but the Dark Troopers are back. Apparently, punching things in a very robotic fashion, as they are robots, is the Dark Troopers' favorite attack. So they get up to the bridge, and you would think that they got so much advanced gear on them, they'd have like some type of laser cutter where they could just go through the door, but they're just going to punch the door to death, and that's how they're going to get in there. So as Moff Gideon is laughing to himself, or laughing out loud for everybody to hear, and everybody else is worrying about the Dark Troopers busting in, we see a single X-Wing approach. Who could it be? Now everyone is looking into the security footage and seeing who this is, and we see a hooded and cloaked figure approach. Who is this hooded and cloaked figure? Then we see a lightsaber. A green lightsaber at that. Oh, we see a green lightsaber. We see a gloved hand. And we see a Jedi mowing down these Dark Troopers. And at this point, we know it's Luke Skywalker. It's Luke Skywalker. He has felt the call of Grogu when Grogu was meditating and sending his force energy out into the universe. Luke has answered the call. And this is the first time, I'm saying it, this is the first time we have seen prime Luke, peak of his abilities Luke. I mean, we don't know if it's peak of his abilities because there's a big section of his history that we don't have, but we see him going ham. We see Luke going ham, using the force, using his lightsaber skills, cutting people down, force pushing, it was awesome. It was awesome. And why I say this is the first time I feel we've seen Luke at his peak is in Return of the Jedi. Luke had basically just become a Jedi. He had just become a Jedi Knight. So we're seeing him as just entering his career. In Empire Strikes Back, we basically see him as a Padawan. You know, he's basically a Padawan still there. He becomes a Jedi Knight in Return of the Jedi. And then we don't see him on screen again until the end of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And he's a grumpy old man who's given up on the Force. We get to see him do a little bit. We get to see him do just a couple grains of Luke. So we basically see him as a Padawan. We see his first days as a Jedi Knight, and then we don't see him until he's basically retired. So this is the first time we get to see Luke in his prime doing stuff, using the Force. I'll tell you what my favorite moment was when Luke took that Dark Trooper and he said, he crushed that mofo. Oh, that was great. And we see Luke, and I really think, this is my opinion, I'm a fan of the gray Jedi path. And I think that when the Jedi become too rigid in their use of the Force and their thinking about the Force, that it hampers them, and not for the good, as we see the Jedi in the Clone Wars era have lost their way. And I think that Luke, it looks like he's using a little bit of the dark side, but he's using it for good, for a good cause and a good effort. So I don't want to twist this. I'm not saying use evil for good, but I'm saying you can use dark emotions for good things in the real world. If you're angry about something, if you're angry about an injustice, you can use that anger for positive change. And I think that's what we need to see out of the Jedi. And I think that's a little bit, just a touch of what we're seeing in how Luke is moving and cutting through these dark troopers. So Luke gets his way to the bridge, and Din Djarin's like, open the door. Everybody else is scared, like, whoa, this dude, he just cut through all these dark troopers. We don't know him. He might cut through us too. But Din Djarin knows that he's looking for a Jedi. He's looking for somebody who can train Grogu and bring him to the next level. So he opens up the door, and who walks through? Luke Skywalker, green lightsaber out, does the reveal. Excellent. Now, I will criticize this, and I don't know if people get mad, whatever, get mad if you want to. What I was hoping to see with the reveal was, I forget the name of the actor, but there's an actor who looks a lot like Luke, like a young Mark Hamill, and has been rumored or people have been like wanting him to perhaps play a younger Luke in something around this era. So I was actually hoping to see that. What we got was a CGI, very video game-esque looking Luke. Like, this kind of looked like Luke did in the Battlefront 2 story campaign. The face, it just didn't look like a real person. I could tell I was looking at video game-esque computer generated images of Mark Hamill to make him appear much younger. It didn't roll well with me. I didn't like it. I have to give that a thumbs down. But overall, I mean, I love seeing Luke return to live action in this manner. So Luke calls Grogu to him, and Grogu is still shy. He's still wary of the situation. And Din Djarin is like, he doesn't want to go with you. And Luke's like, no, he's looking for your approval. So then we have this touching moment between Din Djarin and Grogu. And I felt it coming. And Din takes off his helmet. He's in the presence of other Mandalorians, but they don't follow the creed the same as he does. So they take their helmets off when they're not fighting. So he takes off his helmet in front of people, and he needed to have that moment. I mean, Grogu is his adopted son. That's his foundling, so to speak. And it was great. It was a tearjerker to see that moment between Grogu and Din. And then Din places Grogu down, and eventually Grogu goes over to Luke. Luke picks him up, and they have a few more moments of looking back and forth at each other. And then we see Luke walk off and go into the elevator. They don't call it an elevator, whatever the hell they call it. And R2-D2 is there, and we see Grogu and R2-D2 have a moment of interaction. And then Luke, Grogu, and R2-D2 go off onto who knows what adventures. And I gotta say, I loved the music that they used at the end of this episode, and the music throughout the season has been really good. I like the music that they used at the end of the Ahsoka episode also. Music has been really great in The Mandalorian. And Grogu's story is untold. I mean, we know what happens eventually to Luke's Jedi Temple. I believe the year we're in is where Ben Solo is only 4 years old. So it's still some time before Ben starts training with Luke. And it's interesting, Grogu was at the Jedi Temple with Anakin. Now he's with Luke, and we're assuming that eventually he'll encounter Ben Solo. So he'll be with 3 generations of Skywalkers. But let's not assume that Grogu meets an ill-fated end with Ben and the downfall of the Jedi Temple. And as we've seen in the comics, it's not clear that Ben is actually the cause of the death of the new Jedi. We know that he killed a few, but the explosion at the temple is very much under suspicious circumstances that perhaps Snoke or Palpatine actually caused it. So it will be very interesting to see the adventures of Grogu and Luke in the future. Well, I hope you sat through the credits, because after the credits, where do we end up but back at Jabba's palace with Boba Fett? And it ain't Jabba's palace anymore because Jabba's dead. Well, if it ain't Jabba's palace anymore, whose palace is it? It's Bib's palace. Or is it Fortuna's palace? We get our old buddy, the Twi'lek Bib Fortuna, with his crazy head tails wrapped around his neck, and it looks like he's fat and happy. And Boba Fett comes in there, and they mow down everybody, and they saved the Twi'lek slave. They let her go. And Boba Fett murks Bib Fortuna, throws his corpse off the chair, and takes his place on the throne there. So I guess it's Boba's palace now. Interesting to see what he wants to do with this establishment. And as we see, we're going to be getting a series called The Book of Boba Fett. Very interesting. So that's a wrap on the episode. That's a wrap on Mandalorian Season 2. I gotta say, I really enjoyed this episode. I give it 2 thumbs up. Getting the return of Luke in that epic fashion was awesome. Seeing Grogu go on with Luke was awesome. Seeing Grogu develop that relationship with Din Djarin was awesome. And Din tells Grogu, I'll see you again. I promise, I'll see you again. So it was great. It was interesting. And hey, that's the end of the season. On to more Star Wars in the future. That's all I got for you today. My friends, may the Force be with you. I'll catch you next time. Peace.